In today's video, I'm going to teach you how to get page ID in Notion. If you need to identify a specific page in Notion, finding the page ID is usually very simple once you know where to look. The page ID is a unique string of characters attached to each page, and it can be useful when you're working with links, integrations, automations, or troubleshooting inside Notion. Let's start with the easiest method, which is in a web browser. Open the Notion page you want to inspect. Then look directly at the address bar at the top of your browser. The page ID is the final string of characters that appears after the last / and before any question mark. If there is one, in other words, you are looking for the very end portion of the page URL, but only the part before any extra URL parameters. This is the unique identifier for that page. If you're using the Notion desktop app instead of a browser, the process is slightly different, but still very straightforward. Open the page you want, then go to the top right corner and click the Share button from there. Choose Copy Link. Once you've copied the link, paste it into a text editor or any place where you can read the full URL clearly. After that, inspect the link the same way you would in a browser. The page ID will appear near the end of the URL. It's also helpful to understand that Notion URL can look a little different depending on the type of page you're viewing. If the page is a standard standalone page, the structure is very clean and the page ID appears as a long string at the end of the link. For example, in a standard Notion page URL, the page ID might look like this: 1,429,989 FE8EC for EFBC 8 degrees Fahrenheit, 57 degrees Fahrenheit, 56,486 decibels, 54. That long character string is the actual identifier you're trying to find. One important thing to remember is that the URL structure may change slightly if the page belongs to a database. Even though the link can look a bit different, the page ID is still part of the URL, and you'll still find it toward the end of the link. So the key idea stays the same: focus on the final string of characters that identifies the page. When copying or sharing this information, make sure you're only using the page ID if that's all you need, especially if you want to avoid sharing unnecessary link details. That's how to get a page ID in Notion, whether you're using a web browser or the desktop app.